Okay, so in the two previous videos, we discussed when did the CDA law get enacted, what industries were created to profit from that law, the strategy when dealing with lawyers when you need to defend yourself from websites that have completely defamed your reputation or that of your business, petitioning insurance companies to provide standalone defamation insurance, having a strategy before moving forward, stop being a victim, get off the defense, get on the offense, and then get the law changed or regulated. So this installment will address the regulation of the law and possibly utilizing an existing body like the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, to monitor it. And as discussed in the second video, what we want to be able to assure is that American citizens will not be tried on the internet. So we all grew up with the understanding that we are innocent until proven guilty. However, this new law allows them to take a courtroom into the public and have you pronounced guilty until proven innocent. It's really working around the real jurisprudence of the courtroom. All right. And as I explained in the previous video, very unscrupulous lawyers are using this when they feel they're in litigation they just can't win. So they just destroy someone both financially and their credibility. So let's start with that. Okay, so let's discuss the FCC. So the Federal Communications Commission is an independent agency of the United States government. It was created by a statute to regulate the interstate communications by radio, television, wire, satellite, and cable. The FCC works towards 6 goals in the area of broadband, competition, spectrum, the media, public safety, and homeland security, and most recently, the modernization of itself. The FCC was formed by the Communications Act of 1934 to replace the radio regulation functions of the Federal Radio Commission. The FCC took over wire communications regulation from the Interstate Commerce Commission. The FCC's mandated jurisdiction covers 50 states, the District of Columbia, and the territories of the United States. The FCC also provides varied degrees of cooperation, oversight, and leadership for similar communication bodies in other countries of North America. The FCC is funded entirely by regulatory fees. It has an estimated budget of $388 million. It also has 1,688 federal employees. Now, the FCC initially exempted information services, such as broadband internet access, from regulation under Title II. The FCC held that information services were distinct from telecommunication services that are subject to common carrier regulation. However, Section 706 of the Telecommunications Act of 1996, here's that year again, required the FCC to help accelerate deployment of advanced telecommunications capability, which included high-quality voice, data, graphics, and video. In August 2015, the FCC said that nearly 55 million Americans did not have access to broadband capable of delivering high-quality voice, data, graphics, and video offerings. On February 26 of 2015, the FCC reclassified broadband internet access as a telecommunications service, thus subjecting it to Title II regulation, although several exemptions were also created. So having a group like the FCC to regulate these scam report sites, or another body, and it could be anything that's created by the federal government to focus only on that, is what is really required right now, especially if you start going out to consumer affair type sites and you see the volume of people that are being destroyed by this. The same thing with just looking at sites like RipOffReport.com and seeing the thousands of people being destroyed. It's self-evident that a regulatory body needs to step in. All they have to do is look at all the reputation repair firms out there, look at the lawyers now starting to increase the litigation around it. It is self-evident something needs to be done. So my recommendation is the following points. Number one, each site needs to be accountable for how the information is being reported. So is it being reported through a competitor? Is it being reported from a disgruntled employee that was terminated? Is it being reported at the same time maybe there's litigation going on? There needs to be some confirmation of how this information is getting out there. Number two, what would require cooperation before it's being posted? And there should be a checklist for that. Three, there should be certain caveats that websites should never be allowed to post information. And under that category, if a party's in litigation, no information should be allowed to be posted outside the courts in order not to affect the legal case that's in process. Also, if the site allows individuals to report against a person or business, the individual must certify that the information they are providing is as a customer or client and not as an unrelated party. In this way, someone that's victimized can very easily go to that site and say they're not a customer of mine and they had no basis of posting that kind of information, and it should be required to be taken down immediately. A site like RipOffReport.com shouldn't even have a say-so in what they're going to allow to stay on. Also, these sites should not be allowed to release any information that can destroy someone's ability to continue to make a living without intensive cooperation around the information that's being posted by a third party. If a website has been contacted to remove the information until an independent third party can review that information, a regulatory body would be the group that would step in to do that. You surely wouldn't allow the actual website that reported it. There's no arm's length there. They're totally biased, and therefore they aren't independent. Not allow the website to provide any services that will jeopardize their independence as a reporting site, such as if you look at RipOffReport.com, they provide arbitration and remediation services. This is a conflict of interest. A regulatory group would immediately disallow that and immediately have them remove those type of services. What would evidently happen in that case is those sites would no longer exist. They just couldn't afford to exist. And then finally, reputation repair firms should not be able to offer unsubstantiated services. If they cannot correct the problem for a potential client, they should allow the client or customer to walk away from the contract. Right now, they lock you in regardless if they can do anything for you. Okay, so this regulatory body would have two purposes. One is to monitor these websites that are providing all this defamation, and two, to monitor these reputation repair firms that are working off of those sites by gaining business. I would have to say that a significant majority of the people that are being destroyed are innocent. I'm not going to say all. I think there are some that have done things that may be considered scams, but even they should get their day in court, so to speak. It should never be you're guilty until proven innocent.